Hello everybody, and welcome to this quick video in which I'm going to show you what Blender is, where to get it from, and how to configure it to set you up for all the following assignments. To get Blender, you can go to blender.org, go to download, and then actually click on the button based on if you're on a Mac or a PC system, and download it, and then install it, and it even runs on Linux. Another very good resource before I continue is also Blender Artist. That is the user website or forum where everybody worldwide is basically being active there. You have a lot of artists, for example, they're just doing their artist stuff. You have interior designers and architects showing their work. You have animators doing their work. You have industrial and product designers showing their renderings and animations. So it is really widely used in the industry, increasingly now even more because it simply doesn't cost anything. And um, it's very powerful. I would say this is very similar to 3D Max or Maya. When you're inside the forum, really good is the support area where you can post questions regarding basic interface, modeling, materials, lighting, or you can simply ask, hey, how I do this? I don't know how to do this. People then really are very helpful and provide feedback. That's a really great thing. Oh, he's doing some crazy architecture stuff. Pretty conceptual, yeah, with these trusses and how to bend them. Cool. Let's a few things I wanted to show more. And also, if you go into YouTube and type, for example, in Blender architecture or Blender interior design, you find really a wealth of tutorials, people just showing you how to do it. Some conferences where architects talk about how they are using Blender for their projects in conjunction then also with AutoCAD and so forth. And he, for example, is pretty much doing all his work in Blender too. LinkedIn, you can also find a lot of people. This one is actually kind of cool to show you what you can do with it and essentially pay attention to this area. Now it's like one design paneled across quite a lot, and then you can just play with these things. Because Blender has an animation system built in, it has rendering built in. This is one of the main advantages compared to, for example, SketchUp, which is pretty expensive when you buy it, and it's also very limited. One thing students sometimes say that's great about SketchUp is the 3D warehouse. Well, you can download models from the SketchUp warehouse, put them into Blender 2, or you can go to Blender Kit, where essentially you have the same also with materials and everything inside Blender. And even there is a bonsai project, which is kind of like a clone of what Revit is doing. There are some architects here in the US who use Blender simply because they don't want to pay the money for Revit. Anyway, with all that said, let's take a look at Blender. I will just do the factory settings. Very good. So this is what you're going to see. Don't worry, don't freak out. Blender can really do a lot. That's the reason why, well, some people say it has a higher learning curve. It doesn't really have a higher learning curve, there's just more to learn. SketchUp has a very low learning curve because it just can't really do a lot and costs a lot of money. We have the main menu. Then here we have tabs for the interface. This is, for example, one window. You see that's the 3D modeling environment. Here we have the outliner window that lists all the different objects. We can select them. This is called the property window, where we can set up everything, render engine, render format, world, materials. If I select a light, all the properties for the light. If I select a camera, all the properties for the camera. If I select an object, the materials for that object. Yep. So based on what you select, this changes. And then down here, that's the animation window. And these are all windows. Now we can move them around. Left mouse button, click. If I right click on this, I can say vertical split. Now you see how we can slice this up. I could load something different in there. You see how kind of like this is very modular. So you can customize it to your workflow. You right click onto your border, you could also say join to the right, and we don't need the animation join down. Beautiful. Now this is, for example, the 3D modeling environment right now. So a few things. Here's the toolbar. There's the main menu. Based on what you select, you might see different menus there. We have, when we go into editing mode of a mesh object, we can switch between object mode and edit mode. So those who know SketchUp, that's kind of like double clicking to enter the group. One actually quick demo, I press Shift D, G to move, and Y. With Shift and left mouse button, I select both. I go into edit mode. Yeah, and I can move actually the points of these two cubes in both objects. Something you can't do in SketchUp. Anyway, there's everything how to use it. I will explain more also in the individual tutorial, so you don't have to just memorize everything right now. So when we deal with objects, now we have object mode and edit mode. You will also see that this menu changes. Also this menu changes. Here we have move and rotate and scale. You see they all update. The measurement tool from there to there. Then we have extrude and offset, bevel. For example, SketchUp doesn't have bevel. You can buy an extension for $56. Loop cut and so forth. On the right side here, you have the navigation tool for the different views. Also here, this is zoom in, pan, go into the camera or out, orthographic perspective view. With the N key, you can turn on this property panel. So if we in object mode, then I see where all these objects are, for example, located. Here, I move this one up. You see these numbers change. If I rotate it, you see these numbers change. So I can overwrite everything, go back, and so forth. Cool. So for proper use in all the following assignments, we want to set up the interface correctly. So let's go into top view. Then we select this cube and we go to frame selected. We zoomed in. Then we press A to select everything. Press X to call the delete command and click delete. You see this is gone. This collection X we can also delete. So X is kind of like the delete key. Beautiful. We can set up our environment. So we are in the US. So instead of metric, you want to use imperial. It's up to you if you want to use separate units, feet and or inches. I work a lot, honestly, just in inches because 1 foot, I just type 12 inches. It's easier math in my head. So this is really up to you to specify, and this is something that can always be changed also when we work on a design. This is more for the renderings. This is not so specific. Color management. Yep, no, this we can leave everything where it is. Beautiful. Then let's go to edit and preferences. There are a few things here we can set up. When we go to interface, you see this resolution based on your eyesight. With this, you can make the interface bigger or smaller, or the size of your display. The rest can stay. Viewport, or can stay lights editing. No animation add-ons. Input. If you're on a laptop that doesn't have a numpad, you might want to click on this because then your numbers become your views. Like 3 and 5 are front and side, and then 7 is top. Or you can just click on these icons. This is very often, honestly, what I do. I don't press these numbers anymore. I just click on these icons. Oh, you see, you got top view, bottom view. Let's go back to preferences, navigation. Here we could zoom to mouse position. So wherever your mouse is, you zoom to there. So that's good. Let's bring this back to the center. Yeah, key maps. We select with the left mouse button, search for the spacebar. So when you press the spacebar, you can then, like in AutoCAD or so, type in commands. The rest is good. System. This one here is interesting. So if you're on a Mac with an M1 chip, then you want to click Metal, M1 chip. If you have a pretty good Mac, you can also turn on the CPU. If you're on a PC and you see there CUDA, then click CUDA, or optics, click optics. Save and load. Compress file. Oh, system, where's the undo? Oh, here's the undo. Under steps, click and drag. 256 steps. File path. Yeah, that's kind of it. And then you can click Save Preferences. And that is very good. And then click here, this X button. And then we can go File, Defaults, and say Save Startup File. So what that means is now every time when you make a new design, this whole layout is being used. This is actually a little bit too wide. Oh, I forgot one thing here. Turn this on and this on. Very good. Then when we add actually an object, you see here, don't see it, don't select it, don't display, don't render. And we can keep it maybe like this. Okay. And then to save this again, save startup file. Cool. Beautiful. Let's configure this program a little bit more to work simply faster. Select an object and then here go to view, go to there and then right click and say add to quick favorites. And when I press Q, then you see this command. If I go into edit mode and press Q, you don't see it. Oh, but I have this drawing tool here. Mouse wheel, you zoom out. And X, I just deleted this thing. Beautiful. Okay. Here now I would like to do the same. Frame selected, right click, quick add to quick favorites. If I press Q, now in object in edit mode, I see this too. So with these different modes, you can have different configurations. Then maybe go to here, right click and add favorites. We can turn this on, by the way. We get this then there. And where was the mesh stuff? No. Oh, this is in edit mode. So if I press Q, you see now face orientation and edit mode Q. It's not there yet. Right click and add. And then, yeah, here it is. So edge length, right click and add. Because then if I press Q now, you see it calculates the edges for me. I don't have to measure it, it does it automatically. Beautiful. Few more common things we will use a lot. Go to mesh, clean up, and then say here merge by distance. Right click there. Normal right click on this outside. Yeah, I think that really is it. Then you can stop this, go to File, Save to Startup, and we are set. Maybe if you want to write this down as some keys, middle mouse button is rotate, shift middle mouse button is pan, mouse wheel is zoom in and out, to scale is S, so S to move is G, to rotate is R, and then when I rotate, I can press X or Y or Z for the axes. Sure, that's kind of like it, and the rest we do inside the assignments.